What is up, my viewers? Spang here, bringing you yet another World of Tanks gameplay commentary. This time it is a rare treat indeed. It is one of my games, and it's me driving an E100, a tank I fairly recently, well, relatively speaking, got. It is my newest tier 10. I was gonna say it's probably my newest tier 10. No, there is no doubt. It is my newest tier 10. And as we can tell, standard battle Himmelsdorf, and it's something a little bit different. A platoon of evil gaming clans. You know, the clan group I recently joined after leaving Forge because, well, Forge kind of died on me. A lot of my friends in it went over to evil gaming. In fact, quite a few of them are in fugitive and gangs. So it just made more sense for me to move over to this clan. Now, as you can tell, I am running the 128mm, not the big gun, the smaller gun on the E100. I already know I'm spotted, just being a little bit bold, trying to push right up the center here and seeing if I can get a blind shot. I'm going to attempt it, but unfortunately, RNG just not favoring me. Seeing that E50M and not really wanting to stick around for that T30, I decided to break left. Now, it has been a while since I've watched this game. This game is approximately I would say about a month, maybe two old. I can't recall when exactly I played this, actually. So I did not look at the timestamp. So all I know is it's been a while. And this is a 9.3 replay. But as you can tell, we are running an E100 platoon. Now, the E100 has quite a lot of hit points, a bit softer in its armor than you might think. But it is exceptionally good at side scraping. Now, the place you usually want to hit it is with higher caliber rounds and its turret. Its turret is actually easier to pen than a lot of it. So just shoot left or right of the gun mantle and you'll probably penetrate as long as you're using a high enough penetration gun. Heavy tanks not firing gold rounds, premium rounds, whatever you want to call them, probably won't get through. Tank destroyers have a decent chance of getting through. In fact, I've done it with my T110 E4 on the regular. And here this T110 E3 ever so kindly pushing the front, and I see my opportunity to go along with him. Accidentally getting a little bit bogged up there with my buddy Mustang. And we're going to see if we can not just absolutely decimate this enemy flank here, managing to take Tank Alley quite decisively, getting shot by that E50M and trying to repay the favor here, but just not aiming in time. Although you will see very shortly, we lose the hill. We send virtually nothing to the hill, only a few tank destroyers, and this E50M is quickly getting repaid the favor for what he did to me earlier, but otherwise occupied by the massive force of enemy tanks coming up on a Mustang or Unholy Savage. I'm not sure which one of them shot him, but still getting smacked pretty hard by that 15-centimeter cannon. The enemy team trying ever so desperately to defend this little this little alleyway here as we push on them. That T110E5 and that autoloader definitely doing their best that they can, and an E100 further down just kind of waiting for me to poke myself out. And I say, you know what, I'm going to do what the E100 does best, and that is side scrape. So right here, finding this enemy T30, but only getting shot in the tracks for no damage. I will take that any day of the week. And the enemy team pushing up a medium tank, and it is going to be an Indian Panzer through the railroad lines. We see a little artillery spotted there. This T-30 gonna get shot for really just, that was completely in my favor, getting shot at without me taking any sort of damage. Now, the benefit of the 128, right? Higher base penetration for its armor-piercing rounds than the 15-centimeter. Most people who run the 15-centimeter cannon say you pretty much have to run heat rounds if you want to do reliably well with it. And I don't necessarily disagree. It certainly makes it easier, but still, the 15-centimeter does have a decent amount of penetration, but it definitely makes up for it in its average damage of 750, basically making the E100 a turreted tank destroyer. And that has a lot of benefits, especially considering you still have armor. Now that T110 E5 looking like he did shoot me in my lower plate, I'm going to shoot him in his upper hatch here if I can just, there we go, get a solid hit. Now, the other benefit of the 128cm, besides its higher base penetration, is the fact that it uses APCR instead of heat rounds. APCR is more reliable for premium rounds, and the other fact of faster rate of fire, which allows me to go toe-to-toe with this T110 E5 a bit more. Now, you're wondering, why did I shoot that 50-100? Was I just going for the easy shot? No, well, yes, kind of in a sense. But at the same time, in a match, it is very important to eliminate guns when you can. It's all about that focus fire mentality. The quicker you can eliminate an enemy tank, remove a gun from the game, the more effective your team is going to be. So yes, I could go for the damage and try and kill this T110E5 a bit quicker, or I can make sure it stays 1v1 and kind of basically try and even the playing field a bit. You know, like I said, the more cannons you have, it doesn't matter if your team has more hit points. If the enemy team has more guns, they can quickly close that gap. Right here, the T110E5 finally dying after a long thought out brawl. I'm still doing decently well on hit points. However, Mustang and Unholy Savage have managed to come to an untimely end. If you're paying attention to the minimap, they just kind of got overwhelmed on that flank by that E100 stuff coming down from the hill. Just overwhelmed on all sides. It's down to me and a T32 who will manage to kill that T54 E1. This enemy E100 pulling side out in front of me, and unfortunately RNG just screwing me over right there, getting nothing but a ricochet on side armor, no less. So right here, he's going to ricochet off of me. Sounded like a heat round, but what else do you expect? But if you're wondering where he hit on my upper plate. And right here, I am in a world of trouble. I've loaded APCR, and like I said, aim for the cheeks of that turret, and you're going to do just fine. Case in point, right there. But I know I have this enemy tank on my ass, and I have this enemy artillery also trying to take me out. It is the auto-loading artillery, so I want to get out of there as quickly as I can. This 103, a one-shot for me, I'm a one-shot for him, and I just got to play my cards just right. I see he's moving through that tank alleyway, and I want to actually push up on him because I also take notice of that Indian Panther trying to come up on my 6 o'clock. This T-32 moving in to support me, but as we'll see very shortly, he's firing nothing but high explosive rounds. This M103 pulling out ever so carelessly in front of me, but I'll take it. Easy kill and an easy victory. That Indian Panzer, unfortunately, still at full health, and fortunately for us, our T-32 is as well. But like I said, he's got high explosive loaded for whatever reason, and he proves to be rather ineffective here in the battle to come. Still, looking at the teams, you could say we have a very strong advantage. The fact that the T-32 is full health and that enemy artillery is just begging to be killed by him. But this Indian Panzer also managing to get a little bit lucky. We both managed to hit nothing but that dead E50M. As you can tell, the E50M was on the backside of our E100s here. You can see a little bit of the battle that unfolded now that I'm using my dead ally as cover. And right here, Mustang getting a little bit upset with our Tortoise. Apparently, okay, as I recall, the Tortoise and him were having a bit of a falling out due to the fact that they were grinding up on each other. Now, Mustang, I know, is a great player. This oh, there we go. The artillery finally dying after going TD mode on our T-32. Our T-32 definitely in a world of hurt. I know I have to come support him in this fight with this Indian Panzer. And right there, we see he's firing high explosive. Wondering why he's doing that, but again, RNG just not favoring me in this match. Unfortunately, if RNG had been favoring me a little bit more, this match could have been going a little bit differently, but this T-32 still firing nothing but high explosive. And the bat chat saying all of his shots were direct, all of his hits were direct fire, meaning he was going full TD mode. And right here using the husk of the T-32, I'm not sure if he intentionally pulled out to protect my underplate or not, but I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt and make him sound like a better player than he probably is, and saying that he pulled out in front of me to guard my underplate versus that Indian Panzer. Now that Indian Panzer, you're going to see in this upcoming epic brawl to the finish here, he definitely has a chance to kill me, right? He's got the mobility. I'm a one-shot for him. It is definitely, and the Indian Panzer has the best gun penetration of all the tier 8 mediums. I believe it is 212, which is on par with tier 8 heavy tanks. I mean, a little bit less, but still, it is better than any of the standard penetration of all the tier 8 mediums, saying basically that means he has the best chance of getting through me more so than any other medium tank. Right here, I will manage to get a shot for nothing but tracks. Again, RNG just managing to make my shell go for a spot where armor is definitely where it's not benefiting me in the slightest, and it is down to the wire here. This Indian Panzer has more than enough hit points to try and take me out, but at the same time he's trying to play cautiously. He knows that if he blitzes me head on, it might end poorly, especially if he tries to ram me. That will be a completely one-sided ram. He cannot win that fight. And the Tortoise and my buddy still going at it right here. He's pulling out, and I'm going to drive forward, and at the last minute, if you noticed, I angled my armor, making him hit nothing but my track yet again, and trying to protect my underplate as desperately as I can. The Indian Panzer doing everything he can, and still getting nothing but tracked by me. So it's a very stressful time. At this point in the match, I was just, my heart was pounding, my adrenaline was pumping, and all I could do was hope for the fact that this Indian Panzer wasn't going to get that one damaging shot he needed to finish me off. 5 kills though, so I can ever so taste the top gun coming my way, but it's going to be a very close match, and we got to see if this Indian Panzer is smarter than your average player. Right now, he's doing a very good job using his medium's mobility to try and get flanks on me, to try and get on my side armor where he has a better chance of penetrating me. But I'm also pretty good at predicting his movements here. If you notice, every single time he's tried to get a flank on me, I've always cut him off. And that's just because I know, based on where his position is and what he needs to do, on what, basically, I'm just good at predicting players. I'm getting good at getting inside of players' minds and kind of playing the mental games. Right here, we're both one-shots for each other. It's going to be a brawl to the death, and this should be game, set, match. There we go. The Indian Panzer finally dying after just taking so many of my shots to the tracks and barely surviving that match myself. Just an absolute brawl to the finish, and a game that was very rare, one of those very rare actual good games. 15-14, and very well played by both teams. Alright, and looking at the post-game stats, the post-game screenshots here, they aren't really screenshots anymore, are they? My little description there, 128 OP? Maybe. But as you can tell, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit tired here. Let me just get back in the game. Mastery Badge, Ace Tanker. As I've said in previous Tier 10 matches, getting Ace Tanker in a Tier 10 vehicle, a bit tougher than the other ones because you usually have a higher caliber of player, kind of, usually. I mean, that's not always the case, let's face facts. There's eBay accounts out there. There's players who have not technically figured out the game, but still managed to grind their way to Tier 10 nonetheless. Still, a lot of better players do play Tier 10 vehicles, so Mastery Badge, Ace Tanker, not always an easy thing to get, but as you can tell, Steel Wall, Top Gun, High Caliber, and Spartan for those rounds I ricocheted at the end versus that Indian Panzer. Getting Bruiser, Hand of God, which is basically surviving a battle after taking damage from at least 4 enemy vehicles. That's definitely, of course, if you get that, you're probably going to get Duelist as well. And Bruiser just managing to do a lot of critical hits, all those track shots, all the track shots, but Fire for Effect as well. And so over 6,200 damage. So those who say you can't do well with the 128, I submit to you this game. I'm just saying. I did rather well for myself, but unfortunately Savage getting overwhelmed there early on by just all the tanks that kind of crashed down on him, and Mustang. Mustang still doing rather well for himself. Our E3 doing pretty well as well in terms of damage. But the top performers, definitely that E3, and surprisingly our Borsig, but still, our Roomba, as I like to call it. The enemy team, top performer was that E50M. Where was that Indian Panzer located? Just a bit further down on damage, but if you organize it by experience, he did score second. So doing rather well for himself. 22 shots fired, 19 of those actually being hits for penetrations, and a decent amount of damage blocked by armor, but not too much. I mean, it's not like I block my tank's hit points in armor, unfortunately. So no shell proof for me, but not like I care too much about those. Still, barely earning any sort of credits that match just because of the number of rounds fired for one. And number two, if you notice there at the end, I started firing APCR just because I did not want to have any of that. It was one of those clutch moments. Like I said, I don't fire premium rounds on the regular, but when I do, I feel like I'm doing that meme with the most interesting man in the world. I don't always fire premium rounds, but when I do, it's clutch time. And that basically means, you know, it's down to the wire. We have a chance to win, but it's only if I make every single shot count. And that was one of those matches. Definitely doing very well for myself overall, though. Very happy with the way that match turned out. And like I said, it was a nail biter for me there at the end. But anyway, if you like this video, click that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you got a replay, be sure to send it to spanglereplays@gmail.com. Instructions for that down in the description. And if you got suggestions, comments, anything on how I can make my channel better or my videos better, please put them in the comment section below. But until next time, this has been Spang, and I am signing off.